Hello, welcome back to another video. This is the Land Cruiser. This video we're going to be talking about the Big 3 upgrade. The Big 3 upgrade requires you upgrading some of the wires and your electrical components to make your system much more stronger. So what you guys saw there was the vehicle idling, and when your vehicle is idling, it should be producing at least 14 volts. You want at least 14 volts. It means that your battery is good, and it also means that your alternator is doing its job. The purpose of the alternator is to produce power, which will charge your battery and also keep your vehicle running. So that was 14 volts when it's running. And then when your battery is just on like what it is right now with the engine off, you should have at least 12 volts. If you don't have more than 12 volts, your battery might be going bad. It might not be holding a charge anymore, or it might just be it might be the end of the life for the battery. So right now it's 1358, which is a good battery. This battery, I bought it brand new about 2-3 months ago. So let's go ahead and talk about the Big 3 upgrade, or what I did. So the Big 3 upgrade is, it's basically require you to put 3 more wires into your engine. And what those wires are is, it includes 1 wire from the positive terminal to the alternator. On your alternator, you have a post, which is your power, and you have your factory one. So you want to leave the factory one. Your factory wire stays in place. And then what I did was, I took this wire, this big wire here, I took that wire, and that's from the battery, and then it goes, if you guys can see it, right there. So it just goes right on top of the alternator. What that does is that it gives the alternator more juice. So let's say the alternator is producing 80 amp, it gives it more juice to get charged, to charge up your battery faster. Because sometimes the factory wire is pretty small. I think it's like an 8 gauge wire or something like that. Sometimes it's not enough, it's not big enough to produce all that, to transfer all that current from the alternator to the battery. And there's a reason why you want that, because let's say, for example, we use this for off-roading. Let's say when I'm using my winch is going to start draining my battery, and the alternator can't charge it fast enough because the wire is not big enough. So that's why you want it. So this goes for off-roading, and this also goes for like people that's into the audio industry, like big subsystem, subwoofers and stuff like that. Well, number 1 wire is the alternator to the battery, and then the second wire is another negative wire. You want to extend, you want to put an additional negative wire to the engine block. Now I just bought this wire here, this one. This is a 4 gauge wire. If I were to do it again, I would definitely go with the bigger one. I probably would have went with a 1/0 gauge, or about the size of the one I use here. But it is what it is. 4 gauge is fine, because the original one is right here, and the original wire is a 4 gauge. So this one goes down to the block, and then I couldn't access the block, so for now I just went ahead and put the terminal from the battery to the cylinder head, which is right here, and this still acts as a ground to the cylinder block. So that's number 2. And then the next one you want to do is on your engine block. You have an engine wire, which is this one. This is the cylinder block to the chassis. So what I did there was, let's go ahead and move over here. For your chassis to your block, you want to upgrade that one too, because this wire here is like a very small wire. It's like maybe 12 gauge, 10 gauge or something along that line. What I did was, I went and used a positive wire. This is a factory Toyota positive wire that I had from my spare part bins. I ground it to the chassis, and then I went down to the engine block. So that's where my AC compressor used to go to. That's one of the 4 bolts. So if I went ahead and removed my AC compressor, got rid of all that AC system, and then that was the perfect area to ground it. If you don't have, if you still have your AC, then you just have to find a different area to do it, to ground it to the block. Or you can just do it from where it is right here, and upgrade that wire to a bigger wire. So you can go ahead and delete that wire if you wanted to. I'm just gonna leave it, it's not bothering anything. So those are 3 big ones: your chassis to your block, which is right here, we upgrade that one, the alternator to the battery, positive, and then another ground wire from the battery to the block. As long as you upgrade those three main one, 2 negatives, which is, or 2 ground and 1 positive, that's considered the big 3. And you'll just be the whole point is your charging system will be much more better. You can run aftermarket lights, headlights, you know, LED light bars. You can have them on, and your alternator is going to be able to charge up your battery faster. On the Toyota, there's also a negative wire that goes from here to the chassis, and sometimes that one's broken, sometimes that one's there, and I went ahead and replaced that one with like an extra big one, which is this one right here. The original one is about half this size. It's like a 12 gauge wire, and you don't have to do that one, but I had this one spare laying around, so I went ahead and ground that one too. So I have a chassis to battery, negative to the block, and then chassis to the block, alternator to battery pot, and then block to chassis. So that's plenty of wire, but you just need to do those main 3 one, and I can guarantee you your charging system will be much better. So hopefully this helps you guys understand the big 3 wire upgrade. And again, every concept is different, or the concept is the same, but every engine is different. You can wire it, you can route it whatever way you want. You just have to find your main grounding points and go from there. So this is it right here. I'm running the Walmart EverStart Plus 24F 600 crank, 600 CCA and 750 CCA at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, along with the military terminals. I have my winch, and I have just another accessory, which is my ditch light. So that's all I have for here. So in the future, we'll probably go ahead and add an LED light bar and do some other fun stuff. And also I will be doing a dual battery setup eventually, but that's something that I will do later down this summer. So hopefully this video helps you guys. If you guys got any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.